about impact or fame.
Right.
And I think that sometimes I measure the success of my business on the number of people that I enroll, how many customers. And the other day I had a conversation with a man that used to be the janitor of the office where I used to work almost 3 years ago. And he told me that I inspired him, that he always looked up to me, and he was starting his entrepreneur business. And he showed me he started to become like a professional landscaper, and he has all the plans and all this stuff. And I was so moved and touched because I talk to him every once in a while, but he keeps following my journey on Instagram and Facebook. And he said because he sees my consistency and all the things I do, that's why he decided he wanted to start this entrepreneur journey. So, yeah, Scott is right. We measure our success and impact, and I was focusing, I think, more on the numbers,
than on
and
the people.
So that was my aha moment.
Well, Fanny, I appreciate that. That's awesome to hear that. I love it. Yeah, it's amazing when we hear things. Right, Dr. Wayne Dyer said, "Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change."
Absolutely.
Hey, good
And the
morning,
fact,
Miss. Go ahead. Go ahead.
and the fact that you mentioned sometimes that we are in conversations of other people, and sometimes we don't even know. I had no idea that that was why he decided to become an entrepreneur.
Yeah, we never know the reason, but if we sit there long enough, if we listen strong enough, we can hear their reason, or we give them a safe place to talk about it. They sure can do it.
Mhm.
So awesome. Well, good morning, Misfits. Great to have you all here. Today is the Daily Awakening. It is Monday, January 13th, 2020. I don't know. I'm still getting used to saying 19. Today we're going to be talking about responsibility. So good morning, Misfits. We call ourselves Morning Misfits because we don't quite fit in out there, but we do fit in here. We're a group of individuals who say enough is enough. Today's the day I've had enough. Today's the day I'm going to have more, be more, and it might even be only because of me being able to do less. So sometimes we do less, right? If we go for impact or we go for fame, sometimes doing impact requires a lot less because just as Gisela told us, and she's there with an amazing friend of hers, Fanny, just as Gisela said this morning, somebody said they wanted to do my journey. They see my consistency. They see these things. We're wind up when we start to become responsible to ourselves. People point at us and they give it another name. You follow me? They give it another name. When Fanny said this gentleman who wants to go do work, who wants to go start a business with her, he said it's because of your consistency. Here's what I would say. I think it's because Fanny was being responsible. And when she starts to become responsible to herself, I'm sorry, when Gisela becomes responsible, thank you, Fanny. I saw the finger going, no, knucklehead. Ay, por favor. When Gisela decided to be responsible to herself, when she decided to do the things she could on a daily basis, minute by minute, moment by moment, to stay in this moment, to run her business in this moment, to run her success in this moment, to take care of her family in this moment. See, because they sees you being responsible to consistency, but that consistency also makes you responsible to the rest of your life as well. So, with that being said, as we get started this morning, good morning, you 67 amazing souls who are on here. I'm still like in awe of y'all getting up and spending time with me. I love it. I'm honored. I say thank you. Let's be responsible to ourselves and send out messages of joy. Let's send out our 3 messages of joy, our 3 conversations that we want to do to help people have more, do more, be more. So go ahead and send out your couple of messages. There's Nano. Good morning, Nano. Thanks for being here, brother. Thanks for your amazing conversation yesterday. I got so many private messages talking to me about that and just how that inspired them. Because one of the things that people need to see for those of us who are leading communities, leading groups, leading teams, is that people want to be able to see us and see when we have our challenges. I have people who are on my team that ask me all the time that just they see me in the real world and they go, you like really do this stuff. don't you? I'm like, what do you mean, do I really do this stuff? Yeah, I do this stuff. Hold on, where did I'm hearing somebody in the background here. Hang on just a second. Oh, there we go. No, everybody seems like they're quiet. That's okay, good. So that being said, go ahead and send out your 3 messages of joy, of gratitude, of hope. Any first time callers here today? If you're first time here today, hey Sean, great to have you here. SHAWN, awesome. Great to have you here. Thanks for being here. I want to say thank you to the person who invited you, or maybe you just saw a post. Anna, great to have you here. Sammy, hey Sammy, how are you? Good to see you. Sammy, what's your realization if you want to share? Not Sammy, Shammy. Good morning.
Um, my realization this week is surrendering. I feel like that's the biggest thing that I have to work on. Mostly surrendering to my feelings and emotions, so I can like work through them and see what I have to surrender to moving forward. Because like, to be honest, I'm 27, and when I was about 22, on my own without any influence, since I have kids, I decided to make a lot of changes, and I read a lot. I was vegetarian, and my whole mindset was in a whole different place. And then I went through Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico, and I moved back to the States. And once I moved back to the States, it's like I went back to the norm of before. And having a lot of valid excuses, but using them as what they are, excuses, like having a lot of hardship, or like a lot of things that I had, like responsibilities that I had to like restart my whole life in the States after I had been in Puerto Rico for 6 years.
Jamie, you're
It's been like
breaking up a
6
little bit.
months. It's been like 6 months. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Been like 6 months that I've been back to a lot of the good habits that I used to have. I'm completely having like good habits that I had formed. I just went back to the old mindset, old way of thinking, and I kind of for a while that I was judgment, like, how do you say that, arguing with myself, like having conversation, like just feeling myself, because I knew that I had a lot to change my life, and I don't know, just
So you're breaking up right now, so we're going to get back to you. We're going to come back to you here in a little bit. But I do appreciate you having that conversation. So here's what we're going to have a conversation about today, about responsibility. Let me share the screen over here. Let's see here. Where do I want to go? I'm recording. I got so many things going on. Wow. Some more people just joined us. Appreciate you joining us this morning. Somebody give me an audible that you can see that screen.
You're on, but like you're still in your screen, your view.
Okay, hang on. So it should be getting over to, oh, yes. I'm going to update that right now into present mode. There we go.
Bueno.
So, thank you. I appreciate it. RC in the house, one of the founding misfits. Good to see you, brother. Are you responsible? A question that haunts most of us. We forget about the greatness we've done and we keep beating ourselves up. Time to stop that. Kind of what maybe Shammy was talking about a little bit, about how we sometimes beat ourselves up. We use excuses. Things are tough. I've been through hurricanes, nothing like Maria. I lived in Puerto Rico for 7 years. I think I was through 14 or 15 hurricanes, maybe like 11 on island, and then I lived in Florida. So anyway, this whole idea of being responsible. What are we responsible to? What are we responsible for? It goes back to what Epictetus says in one of the books that I absolutely love, I give away all the time, called The Manual. Epictetus says we need to decide what's within our circle of influence and what's outside of our circle of influence. We need to decide what's we are responsible for and what are we not responsible for. The father of public speaking, Bill Gove, who's since passed, I think now 10 years gone, 11 years gone. Bill Gove said this in his trainings, and he's the father of public speaking. All of the public speakers you see out there that are absolutely amazing, they're now getting a little bit older. Mark Victor Hansen, Jack Canfield, Bob Proctor. These people were all trained public speakers by Bill Gove. He's the first one who took public speaking out to the world as a profession, if you will. And he would say this: as a public speaker, we need to be responsible to them, not for them. As a sponsor, it will help you in your business if you become responsible to them, not for them. And being responsible means being dependable, keeping promises, and honoring your commitments. It is an accepting the consequences for what we say and do. It also means developing our potential. That's the one I liked in the definition. People who are responsible don't make excuses for their actions or blame others when things go wrong. Are things really wrong? What's that whole thing we see? Nothing's wrong. It's nothing's a failure unless we quit. The lesson is in the learning is in the lesson. All of these things that we say as entrepreneurs, all of these things that we do to inspire ourselves, it really comes down to this idea of, are we being responsible, and are we being responsible to ourselves, right? Because when you point a finger out, how many fingers are pointing back? Are we developing our potential? Today, will you keep your promise? Today, will you keep the promise to yourself? Today, will you keep the promise to those you love that you said you will build your business? You will take yourself to the next level. What can you tangibly produce today that you can say, I kept my promise? Today, I was responsible. What do you responsible for? What is this idea of being responsible? How does responsible serve you? What makes you responsible? Today, if you look at your agenda, you look at your tasks, you look at your goals today, what you look at to kind of take a peek at the things from the weekend, what did you say you were going to do over this weekend that you didn't? What caused you to not be responsible to yourself? What caused you to not keep your promises? Was it an outside influence? Was it something that you just had no control over? Or was it something you had? See, last night I got onto a scroll fest, and I probably was looking at something because I had a very busy weekend. And so somewhere I justified in my own mind scrolling on, well, I forget even what I was doing, but I used to get onto TikTok a long time ago. Yeah, this time last year. And I could go for like an hour, sometimes an hour and a half before I absolutely said, whoa, this is ridiculous. So I was being irresponsible. It's funny the stories we tell ourselves when we're okay to be irresponsible, not responsible to ourselves. It's a funny feeling when we think about that. Let's see here. When do you give up being responsible? That's one worth some introspection. That's worth some conversation internally. When do you give up being responsible to others, to yourself, to those around you? How has your life changed with responsibility? Shami said, I have kids now. I'm 27. I have children. I was 54 minus 16. I was 40 when we had Mason. I was 40. That sound about right? Somewhere in that area. That's different. I mean, I can't imagine the responsibility that comes on as a 27-year-old having children. Now, some of you have done that. Some of you are absolutely wildly responsible. But boy, doesn't that all of a sudden change all of the things you planned on doing, we're going to do? How much time do you spend being responsible? Who do you responsible for? This is a big one. Some of you may have heard, maybe it was Friday. I forget, the days all seem to roll together for me. Maybe it was Friday when I did the example of taking somebody's family member, somebody they loved, and putting them at the top of a building, and they could sponsor enough people. We instantly were able to do in this 90-second exercise. I proved that I could get you to double the number of people you could sponsor in a week. Whatever number you think you could do, I can prove that, and in 90 seconds show you we could double that number, and you would do it without any effort. Because sometimes we're not responsible to ourselves as much as we can be responsible to others. Yet how many people might we? Is there a chance that we might be letting some people down because we're not hitting our targets, we're not hitting our goals? What are the rules for your responsible? In order for you to be more responsible, what are the rules you have set up? What are the things that are written in stone versus written in sand as it relates to how responsible you are becoming? Here's the challenge. When you become responsible, I'll go back to Shammy's story. When you become responsible, all of a sudden you're hanging out with 25-year-olds, and all of a sudden you have a child and they don't. You ain't going out like they go out. You're not doing the same things they do anymore. So what are the rules for you to become responsible? That's because another human being shows up in your life who can't take care of themselves. How many times, raise your hand if you've ever, and I say this metaphorically, you don't have to hit your button on there. If you've ever wanted somebody to take care of you, type a T in the chat. Just type a T in the chat. If there's ever been a moment where you've said, God, I wish somebody would just take care of me. I know I say that often sometimes. My bride, Mason, I do so much over here. Why didn't anybody just want to bring me a coffee? But you know what happens? Here's the difference. You know what happens? As soon as I ask, hey, could somebody bring me a coffee? Somebody will do that. Sometimes we sit there and we think it's their responsibility to know how we're feeling. Anybody ever had that happen to them before? We think, why can't they just read my mind? Let me say this to you. How many times does our prospect sit across the table in a world of hopefulness, in a world of hopelessness? How many times does our prospect sit across the table from us, sit across the room from us, sit in a room, they're sitting on a Zoom and they're watching our presentation? How many times do they sit across the table from us and they're hoping we take some responsibility for their life? And yet we as entrepreneurs are talking about how it's time for you to stand on your feet, for you to do all this. Yeah, they'll get there. But at this moment, maybe they're so broken. Maybe they're so fragile. Maybe they're just waiting for somebody to put their arm around them. Maybe they're just waiting. They're hoping somebody hears them. It's not always a one-stop close. Maybe it's a one-stop open, opening them to the potential, opening them to see that you're actually somebody who is responsible. Sometimes we have to be able to tell our vision so that they can go, well, just like Gisela talked about this morning when we started the call. She said, I got to say, I had an aha because this guy, he came up to me who's been watching me and he says, I've watched your consistency and I want to do what you do. Here's what I'll tell you, Gisela. He really doesn't want to do what you do. He wants to have what you have. Consistency. That was the word he gave it. That was the bucket he put you in. He wants to learn how to have consistency in his life. Maybe more consistent income, maybe more consistent time with his children, maybe more consistent time with his grandchildren. We have to understand it's critical that we start to put a little twist on things. We start to change the way we look at things because he doesn't want consistency. He has, with his job title and his position, he's got to be one of the most consistent people in that school. Doesn't he? When something breaks down, he's got to be able to fix it. He has to be able to have the skills, the talent, the capability, the capacity. He has to be consistently on call. But yet he sees ICU being more consistent, but not in his field. He wants consistency outside of what it is he can normally do, and he's looking for you to help. this making sense? What are your rules to become responsible? What are your rules when you become irresponsible? When you turn responsible into action, when do you know it's working? I'll go back to somebody else that we had a conversation back in December about drinking more water every day. Very simple, consistent thing to do. If I asked them if they were drinking all of their water every day that they said they were going to do, have they for the last month? Have they for the last week? How many of you know you could do a little bit more in the health department? You could be a little bit more responsible to you in the health department. How many of you read 10 pages of a good book yesterday? If you read 10 pages of a good book yesterday, just type 10 in the chat. Some of you did, some of you didn't. Hold on here just a second. Before I go over here. It seems like they have a little alarm going off. Look at all the 10s going in the chat. So how about, family, how many of you did a good job with your family this weekend? How many of you worked on your finances this weekend? How many of you did charity work this weekend, right? In the 6 areas, 5 areas, if spiritual doesn't fall into it, spirituality falls into it, my God falls into it. So in the 6 areas, we spent some good quality time yesterday as a family. We listened to Joel Osteen and we had some conversations about that. Some of the messages we've heard before, but we talk more about them. I've got a gift that was given to me here. I've got a daily study guide that I read, and we start to have some conversations with it. So we did a little bit more in our spiritual work yesterday than we've done before. But when do you turn responsible into action, and how do you know it's working? What does responsible, what results does it produce for you? When does responsible produce, when does it let you down? When do you feel it fails to produce being responsible? See, that's a little bit of a tough one, because we think that responsibility always produces results. Sometimes we're responsible to the wrong things. What if we wanted to be responsible to our friends and we go out on the town? I was gonna say we go out clubbing, but that doesn't even sound right coming out of my cake hole, does it? We go out clubbing. I can't even say it without laughing. But we want to make our friends happy. They go, come on, you've been working so hard, blah, 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 blah. And we go out and we know that we shouldn't have. And we justify it. We say, you know what? I need a day off. A day off of what? You're in a gold mine. Aren't you in a gold mine right now? Your opportunity, people are on their knees last night praying for you to show up. You are in a gold mine. Yeah, but everybody I talk to doesn't want it. Talk to different people. It's because they know you, they see you, they've created an impression in you. Maybe you're asking the wrong questions. Your questions trigger the wrong things. How many of you are considered somebody of influence, somebody of importance by people on your team? You're considered somebody that they can go to when they need some help. These people didn't know you before. How did all of a sudden you attain this idea, this concept, this level of authority with the people who you've never met before? I giggle all the time. I did a call. Some of you may have saw the post. It was Saturday, Mason's lacrosse practice. I get a call on my phone. I get a WhatsApp on my phone from one of the leaders in Panama, and I see it's a conference call that I'm being called into, and I'm like, okay, it's snowing out here. It's cold out here. I'm in my red hat and scarf, and all of a sudden there's a team of 35 people who are doing a leadership meeting on Saturday. And I was being responsible to them, and they all thought, oh my gosh, we get to talk to Sean. And I'm like, good Lord, I get to talk to you. They put this level of responsibility on me that I'm somebody special. I am someone special, but I ain't that special. I'm just like them. And they get to see me in the real world. They get to see. I didn't know the call was coming. How many times are you going to get a call And your job is to be responsible just to be you. You follow me? Sometimes we try to be something other than us. We try to be the title. We try to be the title of our business. We try to be, well, I need to be a grand poobah with a fez hanging down the side of my hat. I need to be able to wear the gold jacket. I need to be able to wear the silver shoe, whatever it is. It doesn't matter what title the company gives you. You should already be at the top of your pay plan. You should already be at the top of your comp plan mentally, in service. And you're just waiting on them to send you the check. If you're struggling to be the next rank in your business, that's the struggle. Because when you become the top of your comp plan, or the next, or the middle, or wherever you get comfortable, 10,000 a month, 20,000 a month, 5,000 a month, 50,000 a month, 100,000 a month, you should already be living there, because the money can't show up until you're there. Be responsible to where you're going in life, and then the world shows up and says, listen, they make us be, they want us to be 16 to learn how to drive. They want us to be 21 before we start drinking. Antonio, the registration is just to make sure you get the link, and it's the same link every single day. You don't have to register every day. It's just the same link every day. So you register once, you got it for the rest of eternity, as long as I decide to do the call. So that being said, the key is this: who are you responsible to? What are you working to be responsible for in your life? And Antonio, there you go. Good. I'm glad you got that. Yeah, but you don't have to do it every single day. I go through the email list and I see people registering every day. They can if they want, no reason to. Just show up, that same link you got today, this link you're on right now, save it. It'll be the same link tomorrow, but for the next however long I decide to do it. We're now at episode 325. See there, so that's a perfect example. I saw Antonio show up, and there's a part of me that says, I don't like people in pain. I don't like people frustrated who hang around me. And that was, maybe it wasn't a moment of frustration, but there was a question that was put out there. So I felt I needed to be responsible to Antonio to see if I can't calm down any level of frustration he may have. That's how I take that. No, I get it. Just curious. I get it, Antonio. I appreciate it. It's not, I ain't calling you out. I appreciate you here. Thanks for spending the time with me. So requirements: become aware of your actions that make you responsible or irresponsible. What can you do to begin the releasing process to know the self-sabotaging ideas that are keeping you from being responsible? See, we could just sit. If you just sat for the next 45 minutes, becoming aware of your self-sabotaging ideas that you are holding yourself responsible to. Because aren't you responsible for the ideas you're having? No, well, that's Sean makes me have these ideas, or Nano makes me have these ideas. Really? You realize that in this world of life, all of us have sales and training. So all of us that are in sales or training, we're just billboards. We're just billboards. And people are driving by us, people are riding by us, and in these moments when they pass us, they see us, and we're just a sign, we're a billboard in life, and we go, "Ooh, that's nice. I'm gonna buy that idea." I'm gonna buy that idea. And then I'm going to either say, that makes me feel better, or that makes me feel worse. Some of us who want to give up some weight, some of us who see people who are getting skinnier, getting healthier. Some of us want to go to the gym more. We see people going to the gym. We see pictures of them at the gym. We see them with the great booty. We see them with the great figure. We see them with the biceps, the guns they got going off, and we go, I need to do that. Sometimes we're looking, when I have conversations with people, this is something I use in my conversations. When somebody throws out a question to me that seems like it could be a little bit confrontational, it seems like it might get me a little agitated. When somebody throws out that question, I go, you know, that's a great question. Let me ask you first, are you looking for a reason to do this or an excuse not to? When somebody throws you out something that seems a little off base, a little off center, go, you know, that's a great question. I get asked that all the time. Do you mind if I ask you a question first? I'm going to answer your question. But are you looking for a reason to do this or an excuse not to? Somebody says, how much money do you make? Great answer. Are you looking for a reason to do this or an excuse not to? How much time does it take? What do I have to buy? All of these different things. Do I have to go to the national convention? Are you looking for a reason to win or a reason to fail? See, all too often we're trying to be smart in our answers. We need to be clear in our conversation. We're trying to be smart and sophisticated in our answers. We're trying to be responsible to ourselves. No, we just need to be responsible to them. What they do with it, we're not responsible for them. We're trying to create answers that make us feel like we're doing our best to help them get started. They've already made their decision whether they're going to get started or not. Now, sometimes, I don't know if you've ever heard the expression, you buy back the sale. Sometimes we talk too much. Sometimes we explain too much. Sometimes we get too deep into the weeds and we buy back the sale. They were ready to get started. Sometimes in my mentoring, in my teaching, when I teach my students, the people who are part of my mentorship training program, I have some of them, because they have the confidence, they sit down and you know what their opening line is? Ready to get started? What do you mean? I ask them, are you ready to get started? I got the paperwork, we'll get it filled out. Are you ready? And they go, well, how many times do you think people have come to sit down and have a conversation with you and you wanted to get your presentation out, but they'd already done the research, they've already done the stuff. I've had people, it's probably, I don't know, it's a lot more than average, where I say, so you ready to get started? Yep, I sure am. Tell me how to get started, because you're going to teach me how to build the business. Isn't your presentation part of the business? What if you actually said to your prospect, hey, listen, I'm going to give you a presentation, and what I'm going to teach you, what I'm going to share with you today is what you could do. At the end of the conversation today, I'm going to ask you, could you do what I do? And if you could do what I do, you could build this business, couldn't you? Yes. So it would make sense if I share with you a presentation that gives you enough information to get started, wouldn't it? Yes. Awesome. Let's have a conversation. Are you ready to get started? The elements of a good presentation, Paulette Roy just asks. Hello, Paulette. Love you, bushel and a peck. The elements of a good presentation is ask the right questions so they can tell you how they want to get started. Have a conversation that allows them to tell you how they want to get started. That's what I consider. There's in a book, there's called The Beginning, Middle, and End. That's the greatest conversations have a beginning, middle, and an end. Sometimes we don't know when to end. We don't know what the end looks like. Sometimes we never get started. We're never responsible to the process. Sometimes we have to listen more than we talk. How many times have we heard that? We have to listen more than we talk. If I were to record the last presentation that you did, and it was just based upon this, you had a 20-minute conversation, a 30-minute conversation, you were together for however long you were together, and I were to listen and I were to just count the minutes of who talked more, who do you think talked more? You were the prospect. If it was you that talked more, you're a teacher. You're not paid to be a teacher. If they talked more, you're paid to be a listener. You're getting closer to the right formula. If they didn't sign up, it's maybe because you didn't hear what they were saying. You got to be a better listener. What belief do you have towards forgiving yourself for being more responsible, being less responsible? What are a list of 10 responsibilities you could change? That you can, of course, work on your own. And then what's the fear of being responsible? When we realize when we're not being responsible to ourselves, when we're letting people walk all over us, when we're doing more for others and less for ourselves, that's not a good understanding. Right? If you don't, I saw somebody post this somewhere. I forget, I don't remember who posted it. I wish I did, to give them credit. But somebody put, if the people around you aren't inspiring you, you're not, what did it say? It said something to the effect of, you're in a cage. If the people around you aren't inspiring you, you're in a cage. There was more to it, something more profound to it, but it was a pretty cool statement. This fear of being responsible, who are you being responsible to that's holding you back? If you're responsible to you, people are going to go, there it is. If you're circle, that's it. You're not in a circle, you're in a cage. Yep, thanks, Anna. So this fear of being responsible, what's it going to do to you? How are you going to feel if you start to become responsible? What are people going to start to say to you? What is your addiction to approval showing up? What is it going to flare up with when you all of a sudden start to become responsible to yourself in the 6 areas of life? Your family, your finance, your body, your mind, your society, and your spirituality. The sadness of realizing how more responsible we could be, how farther along we could be, what would happen in our life if we started to stand up for ourselves. Maybe that's sometimes what we do when we stand up for ourselves. And then you get excited when you see this responsibility. See, when you become responsible for yourself, right? What do we say all the time in this profession? We throw these lines out. We throw these throwaway sayings. This is a business that you're in for yourself, but not by yourself. This is a business for you, but you don't have to do it by yourself. Well, it's the for you. A dear friend of mine, Lisa Grossman, she says she does a huge training. She did it at GoPro. It was one of the most widely reviewed messages. And she says this. Let's see. See, sometimes we just say this, I will help you grow your business. But the challenge is we have to say this like this. I will help you grow your business. All too often we make promises. I will help you grow your business. No, you won't. You will, but you will help them. I will help you grow your business. I will help you. I will help you grow your business. Not I'll help you grow your business. I will help you grow your business. Changes it, doesn't it? Changes it. What are you being responsible to? What are you being responsible for? And then once you become responsible, the people that were waiting for you to be responsible to them, the people that were waiting for you to be responsible for them, they're going to get upset. They're going to get upset because they think you owe them something. You left. You said you were going to take care of me. I was. As long as you take care of you, I'll match you step for step, but you got to take the first step. Know this, I'm already a step ahead of you. I'm already 1 step ahead of you. I got involved in the business 5 minutes before you did. I will stay 5 minutes ahead of you. I don't have to stay 50 yards ahead of you. I don't have to drag you the next 25 yards to get you going. Will you take care of you? Is this opportunity, is this possibility important for you to learn what's necessary for you to begin to get compensated by the company? Our company compensates us for 2 things. Finding customers and building leaders. Which could you start doing today? Does that make sense? I'll match you step for step. I'm always here. Listen, how many of you are all here right now? 135 amazing, beautiful souls are here. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. You allow me the opportunity, and my goal in life is to leave a legacy 600 generations. Thank you for being a part of it. Thank you for being a part of it. You just gave me you gave me a whole week of my life back. Y'all follow this? How many hours in a week? Y'all probably know how many hours in a 7 days. How many hours in 7 days? Like 100 and I forget. I probably should know that number. But they say I'll hang around people who are smarter than me. So Elvin, thanks. 168 hours. I got 136 hours of my life back. 136 hours of my life back. I'm going to spend 1 hour. There's 135 of you here. I got 100. I almost have a week of my life back. Y'all get this? Do you understand how leverage works? This and if you teach a leverage that other people can take and put into leverage for themselves, a dear friend of mine, Paul Rogers, said this to me one time, and he got it from somebody else, and they said this: if you want to become rich, do something. Listen carefully. If you want to become rich, do something that takes money from people. Provide a service, a product, sell cups, right? Go sell coffee. Go sell pinchos and habichuelas and go get if you want to become rich, you do something that gets money from people. You want to become wealthy, you teach how people can get their own money. You follow me? You look at Carlos Slim. I'm not sure who the richest, I guess Bezos is the richest person now. But there was a time when Carlos Slim in Mexico was the richest man. He had beat out Gates and them. Why? Because everybody wanted a phone, because the phone made them important. The phone gave them an opportunity to do business. The phone gave them a chance to become an entrepreneur, to become a friend, a family, to connect with the world. He gave them something they wanted. People can use that to make money, or a lot of times they don't. They're not sure how to use technology to create an income. But he became the richest. Bill Gates became the richest because everybody wanted a convenience. You can become the richest person in the world, listen carefully, because you provide a value that allows somebody else to learn and start to take care of their family. It's why people who don't understand the simplicity and the complexity that all is rolled up in this profession, you get to give away. People who don't understand our profession can't understand how somebody can work from home and make 6 figures a month. And they say it's one of those things. It's a pyramid scheme. They're going to say that forever because why? This is one of the most difficult jobs on the planet. Daily responsibility. This is one of the most difficult entrepreneurships in the world. Daily responsibility. You got to get your butt out of bed and you got to decide to go make it every single moment. The true essence of entrepreneurism. The challenge is you don't have a building to report to. You got to report to your own self. You got to report to the mirror and go, did I do what I needed to do? And when you understand that, this is the most, and people, it's too easy to take pot shots at us because they don't see us having employees. They don't see us having all of the normal accoutrement that go, look at that, I used a big word, the normal accoutrement that goes with all of the things that are necessary to build a business. And they see us online having fun. They go, yeah, but you can't, I mean, that's like, they got to be stealing, they got to be on drugs, they got to be doing something. You can't, there's no way that somebody who's 18 years old, 20 years old could be making that kind of money. All of the fancy trappings that go along with it. That's what accoutrement means. At least that's what it does in my head. I could be totally wrong. It could mean cheese and salami for all I know. It just sounded like a sexy word. What does a responsibility mean for you? You have the opportunity to teach a system, to teach a process, to teach a personal understanding of being able to give people the chance to make their own money. So, feedback, thoughts, raise your hand. So, Julio, you've got your hand raised. Let's go to Julio in line 1. If you'd like to ask a question, have a comment, go ahead and find the button to raise your hand, and we'll go through this in an orderly process, and we'll get some feedback there. Julio, good morning.
Good morning, Sean. How you doing today?
Outstanding, brother.
Good morning, family. I hope everybody having a blessed morning today. Sean, I just want to appreciate you, man. I know we had a conversation on Friday. I had a time to get you too, but I just want to say I went the entire weekend trying to sit down and trying to come up with this plan that I want to provide, and what you just, the call today just made me realize that, I jot down a couple things, and I'll say that I didn't come up with a plan, because to give a plan, honestly, I got to see if the plan works for myself first. I got to put myself in those shoes. I got to put myself in those situations to be able to give experiences and learn and growth. So I didn't really come up with a plan, but I just want to say that not coming up with the plan made me realize that it's not what I can give in a physical form, if not in a feeling form. I was too focused on trying to get people to what is that they want instead of just focusing on here and then. So I was just, my mindset was differently, on a different mindset. So because of this call today, kind of really made me realize that it's not all about what I can provide as a self, if not as a whole team, as a unity, as a community. And another thing is, I just want to appreciate you guys, because there's times where I sit here and I just listen, and I always want to say something, but I always get the nerve and never do. And someone else has a different question, similar to the question I was going to ask. So I just want to appreciate everybody and thank you for your time, and have a blessed morning.
Julio, thank you, brother. And I'll say this to you, and I'll say this to everybody who's listening here right now. Nobody wants what we have. Listen carefully. Not a single person will ever want what you have. What will they want? What they want. They want to have the things you have, but they want them in their own life. So the question then becomes, if you want what I have, will you do what I've done? And that's where the wheels fall right off the wagon. People want to have better spirituality. Well, will you sit down and read the good book? Will you sit in meditation? Will you pray? Will you go do charitable works of goodness and kindness? No, but I want to feel like you feel. I want to have the belief you have. Well, if you want to have the belief I have in my business, you can't do what I've done. Only I could do it. I could tell you what I did, but when I had the breakthrough of being in Puerto Rico and having my businesses translated for me, because I didn't speak Spanish at the time, I realized everything in life is translated. Everything in life is translated. You guys listening to me right now is being translated through your experiences, through your own filters. Nobody wants what I have. They want what I have for themselves. So if that's the case, are they responsible enough to themselves to learn the process, to go through the A's, the B's? How many of you have an amazing, powerful product that all they need to do is take it, and if they took it, it would work, but they say it didn't work because they didn't take it because they don't want to be responsible to the new story? How many of you have a process that if all they did was get on their computer and spend some time reviewing, spend some time reading, spend some time in understanding, the product works? How many people do we give them a book and they never read the book? They want what we have, but they're not being responsible to themselves to get what they want. So Julio, I appreciate you. I'm proud of you sharing that and having the courage to step up, because many people think, well, it's not that hard to talk, but you just shared, you just showed that you're being vulnerable, that, hey, listen, I can do pretty good at what I do, but sometimes I get nervous. So you became more responsible to yourself to stand up and speak and have a conversation. I appreciate you doing that, brother. Let's go to Nano, the man with the downloads, the man with the ahas. How you doing, Nano?
I'm doing phenomenal, Sean. How are you doing, brother?
Outstanding, brother. Thanks. People are still talking about it. Scott and I were talking about it the other day. He watched your download yesterday.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Rhonda has some good insight as well. She told me she was mind blown with what she heard and everything. She said she still had to finish up listening to it. That's awesome. But yeah, Shauna, I wanted to talk about what you were talking about today about being responsible. Because I always tell people this, you know, a lot of people don't make it in this business is because they've been programmed their whole life, you know, to be told what to do, you know, all the way through school, parents, and then they come into this business and then they have to be fully 100% responsible for themselves. They have to wake up early. They have to put in the work. They have to do those things. So that, I feel like that's why sometimes most people, you know, struggle in this business. So, you know, I've been starting this. I don't know if you can see it right here. So I've been doing this weekly rhythm register chart here, and it's like a self accountability thing, and it's been helping me a lot because it kind of shows me in what areas I'm lacking in. You know, I set goals on how many times I want to read in the week, and then I look back and I'm like, okay, I set a goal to read 7 days this week, but I only read 5. You know, where was it that I slacked on? What was I thinking when I decided not to read? What was the story that I told myself that caused me not to go into that reading? So I was thinking about what you were talking about, and I was wondering what are ways or what are things that I can use to hold myself responsible when I don't do those things?
So a couple of things. How many, Nano, did you ever see your mom walk around with a rubber band around her wrist?
With a rubber band around her wrist?
Yeah, and she used that kind of as a memory thing. Sometimes there used to be, when I was growing up, my mom would, if she was thinking about smoking, right, she would snap the rubber band and she would inflict some kind of little bit of pain, little something like that. So the reason that you held off on reading and you didn't hit your targets, a couple of things. We go back to your download conversation. If you did it, what would change?
I would feel better.
So why are you not wanting to feel better? What's the story you're telling yourself that if you read 7 days in a row, you'd feel better? You would excel. You would break some chains, right? Because here's what happens when we're going on tasks like reading. It's not that we missed a day. It's that we got to start over. How many of us have heard this thing going around? And I'm not sure if I'll get it right, but it's like the 75 hard or hard 75 for 75 days. You absolutely go full out 100%. There is no cheat day.
That's what that's what I'm working on.
Okay. So why is it okay for you to have a cheat day? Who are you cheating? See, you're only seeing as cheating as yourself. You only see when you don't read, you're the only one that suffers. Who suffers when you don't read 10 pages of a good book? What do you do?
It's not about us.
No, well, it is about us, but you're in a position of leadership, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
So you know I love you, right? And people are going to think I'm being mean to you right now, but I know I could say this to you. Why are you sucking at being a leader?
Absolutely.
You know I love you.
I know you do. Trust me. They won't understand, but we do.
Right? So you're sucking at being a leader. So you're only a leader 6 days out of the week, 5 days out of the week. See, a mentor can say things to you that most other people can't say to you. And it's not even tough love. It's just Nano's an athlete. Sometimes athletes need to be set straight and need to be reminded how just freaking amazing they are. And part of it, Nano, is so that you can stay in touch, quote, in touch with your group. Dude, you need to be so out of touch, it's not even funny. You need to be able to be touched. There's a big difference. Does that make sense to you?
So much sense. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate that.
Right. So you and I get to have conversations. We get to hug. We get to kind of roll around on the floor and play with each other's mindsets, because I'm learning from you how to communicate with this generation that I've never lived. Right. I was 20 once. I was 30 once, but it's a whole nother world. So you give me this opportunity to communicate with a level and an understanding of people. So you mentor me in that conversation, whether you know it or not. But what you're telling me is that I'm okay with being a leader 5 days out of the week. Well, okay. So you're okay with starting over every 5 days.
Yeah.
Because this isn't incremental. You reading 1,000 pages of a book for 100 days, 10 pages a day, 10 pages times whatever that is, of 100, wouldn't that be 1,000? I think so. So my point is this. It has to be every day. Let me ask you this. Do you breathe every day?
Yeah.
Good thing we can't cheat on that. That's called survival.
So how do you get rid of the story that you tell yourself, like you need a day off, you need some time to relax?
Tell yourself a better story. So what if you didn't go out with the two women who called you and said, we're coming to see you? You realize what wouldn't have happened? Do you realize what wouldn't have happened on the call when you explained it to everybody and everybody saw you in this vulnerable state of leadership? You realize how many people would not have been inspired? How many people would have still been lost? Because you paid attention to the moment. The key is you've got to pay attention to the moment and say, does this serve me or does this strap me? Does this imprison me? Let me ask you a question. Do you want to stay the same?
No.
Then why wouldn't you read everything? Are you reading crap?
No.
Good. Then if it's going to inspire you, well, how could you not want to be inspired every day? Just tell yourself a better story. Here, you know this. So how many pages a day do you read? How many pages a day do you want to read?
I do 30 minutes a day.
Cool. So guess what you now have to do to me? You gotta text me you're 30 when you're done.
Okay.
Accountability never hurts either.
But if I don't text you the 30, you have to hold me accountable.
Trust me. Do you want to be on the other side of that 30-minute, that non-30 conversation?
No, I don't.
I need you to continue to grow at an exponential rate. I don't need you at an incremental rate. We're not even, folks, for those of you that may be new to the call, I'm not part of your company, part of your organization. There's no way at this moment, anytime that anything that Nano does, I don't even get a toaster when he ranks up. He ranked up 2 or 3 times since we've been mentoring each other and having conversations since June. I don't even get a toaster. I don't get a thank you from his upline saying, hey, I appreciate what you're doing with Nano. I do this because I want 600 generations in the world to remember my name, because there's 2 times you die. I'm being responsible to my family. There's the day you leave this planet and the last day somebody says your name.
Facts.
I choose that to be 2,400 years from now, at least. So Nano's kind of one of the people that said, I'm hanging with you. And together we're making the world a better place every day.
Yes, sir. We will.
So there you go. So 30, I need you 30. I'd rather you're 30 before, and it could be 15-minute increments, right? So what time would you be willing to send me your 30? Commit to sending me your 30 before what time?
Before 1.
Okay. Cool.
Sounds good, Sean.
All right, brother. Does that help you with your question? Does that answer your question?
Yo, no, it does a lot. I need to definitely pay attention to the moment, tell myself a better story, especially on the weekends. I have a tendency of on the weekends telling myself this story that it's okay to, let off the gas pedal. I keep telling me that story, and that's an old paradigm of mine that I had in 2019.
I'm going to say something that everybody's going to laugh at. No, I mean this. That's a story from the hood.
It is. I guess it is.
The weekend. Here, write this down, Nano. Write WEAKEND.
WER.
You want to have a weekend.
Weekend. Yo, and it's so funny you say that, because that's been my story for the last few weeks. I've had a weekend. I go hard for the first, 5 or 6 days, about five days majority, and then I have like that weekend.
Yeah, WEAK, weak as in no strength, as in losing it all. Listen, if you were a salmon swimming upstream to go spawn, and you had a weekend, where do you think you'd wind up? You'd wind up back out where the mouth of the river every time you stop swimming.
Yep.
Sometimes you can find in the jetties. Sometimes you can find those little places to recover. That's what these calls are. They're the little pools where you can recover. But you know what? Sometimes you can't hang out in the pool. You got to get your butt back in the stream. And the stream isn't going to be easy. The stream we're fighting against isn't easy. But you know what? It's easy because there's no competition there. There's no competition on the extra mile. Some of you keep getting to almost to the extra mile where there's no competition, but you keep taking it off and you wind up back in the soiree with all of the other people who are nagging at you, pulling at you, tugging at you. There you go. Let's go to Crystal. Crystal out in Arizona, I think Arizona. Good morning, Crystal. We've got Crystal on line 2. Go ahead.
Good morning, Sean. How are you?
Outstanding, my love. Good morning.
So what I learned today was a really great question to start asking myself, which was, are you looking for a reason to do this or an excuse not to?
All right.
And that related because I believe I have really good mentors around me. I have Kevin, Mike, and Melissa. So I always, it's Mike Kevin and Melissa. They can do it. I need to look up to it. So I give myself an excuse and I don't take responsibility for doing more for my business. So I really, really like to start asking myself that question every time I think of doing something or I think of not doing something.
Yeah, when you start to inquire, when you start to do some self-inquiry, it becomes real clear, real quick how easy it is we let ourselves off the hook. Appreciate you. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Sean.
Love you.
Love you.
Go to Brian. We've got Brian on line 2. Brian, go ahead.
Good morning, y'all.
Good morning, Brian.
I just wanted to add something to what to Nano's question real quick, and I saw somebody kind of blurt across the chat, kind of basically said the same thing. As far as like changing the narrative, changing your story. Like I get on these calls and it creates an inspiration to do certain work. So it's not like a taking a break from things like the reading, for example. Nano, I was on one of your calls and you had a Bob Proctor interview going for the first few minutes. And so after the call, I went and looked that one up. And man, I tell you, I don't know what day it was. I don't know what was going on, but like I had the opportunity for that whole day to just be soaked in personal development. It's an opportunity. This work, the growth, it's an opportunity. And so it's like the changing from the weekend mindset to taking the break to I get to do this, that's all.
Yeah, when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. That's powerful.
Exactly.
Cool. Dr. Wayne Dyer said that. Please, if you share that, you heard it on the call this morning. I always want to make sure the person that I heard it from gets the credit. So yeah, if you post that out, sometimes people say I said it, and I'm trying to. I didn't say it. That Brian, I appreciate you sharing, man. Thanks for showing up, being here, and being responsible to yourself and making those comments. Love you, Todd.
That's a privilege.
Thanks, man. So we've got Trey on line 4. Let's go ahead. Let's go to Trey. Trey, where are you from, brother? And you're not unmuted yet, Trey. You might not be where you.
Sorry about that. Wrong Trey. Gotcha. What's going on, family? I just wanted to touch on actually I didn't even want to touch on it. I just wanted to tell Nino, big bro, I tune into you every single day. It's some mornings where I actually gotta put on my headphones and listen to you through my lawnmower, my weed eater, because I do landscaping. Nobody asked me to do their grass because I'm not. And like I have to have it. I have to have it. So it's never a week in for you, bro, because you get on these calls every morning. You stay consistent, bring positive energy. You bring your humble self. Like you don't come perfect or flawless or holier than thou. Like you give us you, and you give us your insight, and you take the time to learn that material to pass it on to us. So it's never a weekend, big bro. Never a weekend. I know it says, God can use us the best in our weakness, but I feel like your weakness point has already been, it must have already passed, bro, because all you see is strength. I live in Virginia, and I know you live in New York, and I could feel your energy every morning from states away, big bro. So I'm not sure, I can't tell you how to feel personally, every single day, but just know that you help me not be in a negative state, be in a negative mind when it is that I don't want to read, because I read more audiobooks than anything. I will fall asleep in a page right after I wake up if I start reading a book for whatever reason.
I'm that way.
You give me the motivation to read. I end up reading. If I'm not reading the book, I'm listening to the audiobook. If I'm not listening to the audiobook, I'm sitting in silence, meditating on what I've already read and trying to apply it to how my everyday life works, my everyday walk. So just know, big bro, I definitely love the acronym, the saying weekend, but big bro, every single day you wake up, you make hundreds of people stronger. So it's no way you could be weak at any point.
I appreciate that, fam. I really do. It means a lot to me, bro.
Trey, I want to say something to you from my perspective. Can I share something with you?
Absolutely.
What you just told me and how you just shared your story with me right now and what you just said, I got to apologize for sometimes people putting you in a box, making prejudgments about you. And a lot of it has to do with kind of my demographic. And I'm just saying that because what you just shared with me, the heart you just shared with me, sometimes you're not given the benefit of the doubt. Thanks for still showing up anyways. Sometimes you're not given the credit for being this amazing human. Thanks for showing up anyways. Does that make sense to you, Trey?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you. I love your energy. Thanks for showing up on the call today. Thanks for inspiring all of us. Thanks for inspiring Nano. And thanks for letting him know that his impact reaches 2 states away. And that's powerful. So Trey, I just want you to hear this from me. I appreciate you. Thanks for showing up in my world today. I needed you today.
Thank you, big brother Sean. I love you guys.
Love you, man. Thank you, brother. Let's go to Rhonda Bird Parker in Maybank, Texas.
Good morning, y'all. How is everybody?
Look at that.
So I have, I'm still putting my thoughts together on Nano's call or awakening yesterday. And that whole concept will come together soon, because I wasn't on the call live, but I got to listen to the call. I always go back and listen to the replays. Everybody go back if you missed the call and listen to the replays. There's always extra nuggets, even if you're not on the call. So that'll come. So Nano, yes, I have lots of thoughts on that. There was, Steph, go listen. There was something that stuck out just a minute ago when I think was it Julio that first spoke?
Yes.
And he said something, and I always try, when I'm on these calls, I always try to find something that's applicable to share or to hold on for myself and for everybody else that's growing. I'm always growing. I hope I'm always growing. If I appear to not ever be growing, someone put some Miracle Grow on me and make me grow or something. And he said this, he and Sean were talking, and he said to put ourselves in other people's situations. And that was just a phrase he said as he was talking about something else. And what hit me, because I'm learning to take notes like my mentor, wonder who that is, how he takes notes. And this is what hit me. And I just wanted to read the question I wrote down. Do we have to put ourselves in their situation? Okay, so we're building a business. Do we have to put ourselves in their situation? That seems like a tripping point to me. Or are we better served to ask good questions, the right questions, to help them see a way out of their situation or to improve their situation? So that might not seem like a big thing, but if you dissect the thought there, There's no way this 44-year-old woman can put myself in y'all's situation. I am, for lack of better words, a white privileged woman who's had a total different life than most everybody that's on this call. And when I say privileged, just because of my skin color, I don't have a lot of money. I don't have a lot of things like that. But because of our society and demographics, I can never put myself in y'all's situation. But if I ask the right questions, I can listen well and hear what your situation is and ask you questions that'll help your brain figure a way out of your own situation. I don't have to be all knowing. I'm not. I never will be. I'll never be Sean. Sean has a lot of great, interesting information in his head. He's steeped in wisdom. I'm not there yet, but I can learn to ask the right questions. So my note taking has totally changed, and I'm sharing this. Somebody else needs this besides me. I know it. I can feel it. My note taking now is questions. As y'all speak, y'all are changing the way my brain is wired and works by listening to every one of y'all speak and to listen to Sean speak, because now I'm asking questions. And my questions, that was one of them. And I think that's huge because the last few calls, I have heard y'all wrestling with how to sit down across the table from a prospect and how to talk to them, how to get them to see where you're at and what's going on. How about we sit down at the table and we don't care where we are. We're just there right now. And we sit there and we listen to them and we think of the question we need to ask them to help them get past the thought. Good morning, Mason. To get past the thought of where they are in their head. I hope this is making sense, because this is the way Sean has had breakthroughs. This is the way I have had some crazy breakthroughs. This is the way Nano is having his most current awakening, is questions. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of questions. That book you see Sean going through right now, if you grabbed it, first of all, if you grab it, be careful, he'll tackle you if you try to run away with it. And I don't know how aggressive he would get if you try to take his journal. But secondly, it's full of questions. And I'm saying this because you guys, what y'all have in your hand to be able to give to somebody, network marketing, your company, whatever you're doing on this call, whatever type of company you're in, you have freedom. And all you're trying to do is listen to them to see what question you can ask them to help their brain wrap around the thought of being free and being able to go help others. Does that make sense? Am I making sense, Sean?
Absolutely, Rhonda. And what I love is I feel giddy inside that the way I take questions, because we spent GoPro together. But you're like, you look at my notebook and you go, I don't see you taking notes. No, but it all turns into questions. So we had some severe thunderstorms here the other night, and they had a tornado warning where we got the thing across. It said, go take shelter now. The first thing I did was go grab the most recent journals, and this is like 2 years of journals. The rest of them are, I think most of them are up in the cloud. But this is 2019, second quarter half of 2018, 2000. So this is when you'll say, well, do you journal? These are my journals from like the last 4.5 years. And what it is what I love what Rhonda's saying is that she's hearing things so that she can ask the question to herself. She's taking the gold that I share, the nuggets that I share, the nuggets that she hears you share. She's taking those nuggets and she's turning them into your gold, her own gold.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes.
And this is me. So y'all apply it to however you need to with you. So on Sundays, I'm not on the call on Sundays because I have a position at church that I serve on our. What did you say?
You have a higher commitment. I have a higher calling on Sundays.
No, I don't know. It's just another calling. Yeah. I serve on the altar team, and I'm the person. I'm one of the people that stand down at the front at the end of the service. And if you want to come down for prayer or whatever, I'm there to receive that. I'm not there to hold you accountable, and I'm not there to confess to. I don't need any of that from you. That's not who I am. I'm just a person. But what's crazy is I'm the person that when you come down, I ask you questions. And I found myself yesterday doing it, and it hit me. I'm like, oh my gosh, everything I've done down here at the altar is everything I should be doing all day, every day.
Amen.
All day, every day. I just asked questions, and there was a young man that came down that was very troubled with some things. And I just asked him questions. And within a few minutes, we had gotten through the thought process in his head, and we were able to approach it totally differently. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's what I'm supposed to be doing to everybody. And when you get to that point, that's where Nano's getting his new vibration. And that's where Sean's getting his downloads, and Nano's getting his downloads. So I just wanted, that was on my heart really heavy. I want to encourage y'all, switch it all up. Instead of searching for the right information, searching. It's in you. Yes, all these books are inspirational, but what they should be doing, these books and these talks and these calls, what they should be doing is inspiring you to ask the questions that you need to ask of yourself and to the people that are with you. I hope that helps. It helps me, but there's somebody on here that needed that. I can feel it so deep in my bones right now. It's crazy. So just know it comes from a place of love. Everything I tell y'all is the fingers are all pointing back at me. I ain't even going to point to the screen. They're all pointing back at me. So I love y'all. Thank you, Sean, for letting me have a moment.
You're welcome, Rhonda. Thanks for always showing up and being there. I appreciate you. Let's go to Latoya. Latoya, let's in New York, who's probably getting towed or driven somewhere right now. Hope you're safe.
Well, hello, how y'all are doing? I'm be honest with you, I listened to kind of like parts of the first half of the call. I didn't hear that part, but from what I'm understanding right now, what Rhonda said about asking questions, that is a very powerful thing. I'm so glad she touched that, because we can be in a world of searching for answers. But I too ask for questions. I pray for wisdom, and wisdom is always received. So it's like, that's all I do. I pray and meditate on the wisdom. They have a better understanding of ways of life, whether it's in business or personal growth. And when Sean, I just want to give thanks to you, Sean, because these calls had opened my mind to a whole new view of just how I see things now. And I see it much more clearly, but I'm still a student, and I'm always like, wow, he gave me an aha moment. Even if it's just one thing to take away, I'm like, wow, I'm at an aha moment. But I sit to listen to understand. But if to get a better understanding, yes, I will ask questions. But I just want to thank you for these calls, Sean. I thank you so much. This is part of my morning motivation. You and Nano, Mornings with Nano call. And Nano, I want to also thank you too for the calls as well. I mean, your transparency just opened me up to be more transparent, because we want to often, when we share an opportunity or things of that nature, we be like, well, we don't want them to think that we're going through hard times, because in this world, everything looks glitz and glamorous, like everybody's smiling, making money, but people don't want to hear we often think people don't want to hear the part where we put in the work, or things of that nature. We try to put on this mask, but I just thank you for that transparency, and that just make me feel more transparent, more open, and more confident. That adds to the confidence. So thank you all. Thank you so much for the morning calls. It's liquid sunshine right now. People call it rain, but it's liquid sunshine. So I got poured down on some blessings.
Can I get your number? Cause hey, how you doing? I'm 18 and I love your energy. I don't want you to just put your number out there. Maybe you can get me on Instagram, but I need to be talking to somebody like you at least once a week or something.
Absolutely. I'll share it with you in the chat. All right.
Okay. All right.
Cool. All righty.
Very cool. So we've got Wendy Rodriguez. Let's go to Wendy on line 3. Hi, Wendy.
Hey, Sean, how are you? Good morning, everybody. First off, I just want to say I'm super grateful and I'm super happy. And I think this call again aligns, just like yesterday. I'm actually reading a book called The Art of Communication. And I think it's so powerful that Rhonda came on here and started speaking about something that I just finished reading. And basically, it's just, asking people enough questions for them to realize what they need to work on. And honestly, Sean, that's something that you do all the time. Like, you don't give us an answer. You ask us so many questions to where we realize our own answers. And I think it's super funny because it really makes me think. It makes anybody think. And the book that I'm reading is called The Art of Communication. And basically, one of the questions, what this book is basically saying that the way you connect with others and the way that you ask questions to others is how you realize how you talk to yourself, because talking to yourself and listening to yourself and communicating with yourself is very important and very powerful. And it says over here, when you ask questions to people and you really listen with compassion, you're actually ending suffering for them, and how you end suffering for them is how you end suffering for you. So I think that that's such a beautiful thing to acknowledge. um Rhonda, I appreciate you. You look beautiful this morning. And again, Natoya, you do too. You are glowing today. I'm super grateful for all of you. And also, Sean, like, I'm gonna be real with you. Your notebook look like Bibles, and they make my notebooks look like magazines. So I definitely had to acknowledge that. I'm here thinking, I'm like, yeah, I'm writing out of books. And then I'm looking at Sean like, dang, maybe I'm not writing so much. So I think it's so beautiful. I just want to give that acknowledgement. Like I said, Rhonda, like it's crazy how you acknowledge that yourself. Like I'm not gonna honestly read what I read because it's a couple pages, but what you acknowledge is so powerful, because again, like, you're right, you can't put yourself in everybody's shoes, but you can ask enough questions to where they can realize it. And these questions that you ask them is what you ask yourself. And the same way you end suffering for other people is the same way you end suffering for yourself. And I had to read that, and then you were just my second confirmation for the day. So thank you guys so much.
Wendy, I love you, and you just shared some absolute, to me, I don't know that I've ever been able to put the words in place to have that conversation that you just did, where it says, how do we end the suffering of others? That's all we're trying to do in our business. Are we trying to end some form of suffering in their life? So I just absolutely love that. I needed you today. Thank you for having the courage to stand up and show up and be here. I love you so much.
100%. I love being like this Hialeah girl, but then I have this side of me where it's like super wise, and this is where I bring it out, So I'm grateful for that.
I love you so much. That's so awesome. Appreciate you.
Hey, real quick, Sean,
yeah,
can I say something to Wendy? Wendy, yeah. This world, and this is for the women, sorry guys, this world needs women to let that strong, compassionate, heartfelt, amazing woman out all the time.
Mm-hmm.
All the time.
Don't need you hiding here just on these calls.
No, I need you to show up like that all the time, because what you just did for me, and Sean will understand this, my whole insides are shaking at a whole different vibration because of what you just said. So sisters, show up like that all the time. You just totally gave me a different feeling, and I love that.
If you're responding, Wendy, you're muted. Just saying that. Okay. Wow.
Sorry,
there you go.
Sorry.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Wendy.
no, 100%. Rhonda, yeah, definitely. I will put more of an effort to be like this more often. And then on the group chats, I just saw that my energy is different and so on and so forth with the anxious. Ralph, I'm not really anxious. I'm just really hyper. But I'm learning to channel it the right way. So I also acknowledge that. Thank you. And good morning, everybody. Let's have an awesome day.
So Wendy, here's the good news. You can be that way here. You can be this way everywhere. You're just amazing. So there you go, folks. Here's what I'd love. thanks for all of the people who are watching on YouTube, watching the YouTube replays. I just sound like an 80-year-old, right? Get on the, thanks for being on the YouTube. But thanks for watching, sharing it on YouTube, going out there. I'd love for you, if you want to do there, go and leave your comments. Would you learn, would you like, underneath each show? And what that does is that inspires others, because part of our goal is to change the vibration of the world, to enhance the vibration of the world, giving people a chance to see that other people are learning. Because the most difficult thing for anybody to do is to publicly speak, and making a comment is a form of public speaking. So if you've got the confidence to go do that, leave a comment underneath the videos. Would you learn, would you like, from those sessions? So thanks, Nano and Julio and Wendy and everybody that shared this morning. I see Noah raised his hand. Noah, you got something you want to say, brother? You want to share?
Yeah, I just wanted to I wanted to ask you if it was all right if I hit you up privately. I had a
absolutely. You know that, brother.
I went through something this week, and I've been doing what everybody else has been saying on this call, and that's asking myself questions on what does this mean? What is the universe trying to tell me? So yeah, that's something I'm gonna hit you up privately about and speak to you about.
You got it, brother.
All right, thank
you. Appreciate you. Everybody send some love to Noah. And then it pays to no glow. So go ahead, it pays to no glow. You've got a question or a comment, and then we'll wrap it for the day.
Hold on real quick, brother. Hold on. Okay, my bad, y'all. I didn't but no, I really wanted to just show my gratitude and appreciation, as I always do, for this call. Just getting my morning started the right way is super crazy to me, because I went to sleep a little bit late, and I didn't expect to be able to get up this early in the morning, and nobody woke me up. I didn't have an alarm set or anything like that, but I just kind of woke up, and it was like 6:01 or 6:02 or something. No, I think the call started at 6:30. It was like 6:32 or something like that. And I rolled over and I checked my phone because I fell asleep. I'm starting to go to sleep now listening to Your Wish is Your Command. Shout out Nano for putting me on to that. So I put my AirPods in, and I go to sleep to that now. When I woke up, my AirPods out of my ear. And then I checked my phone, and I seen Nano had dropped the call. So I'm like, wow, that's perfect. So I got up and got on the call. And then when Nano was just pretty much speaking on how he, you know what I'm saying, takes off on the weekend pretty much lets his foot off the pedal on the weekends, it was crazy to me, because I feel the exact same way, especially when it comes to the reading, because like I have plenty of books that I could read, but sometimes I won't read for the simple fact that I get my personal development in every day in the form of maybe like an audio or something like that. But I don't want to use it as an excuse, because I'll tell myself, I'll use it as an excuse, like, okay, well, you didn't read, but you got your personal development in. But that's not okay. I still want to read as well. I still want to feed my mind, you know what I'm saying, with my books, and get my books out of the way as well to get that knowledge. So I appreciate Nano for literally just coming out of, so just pretty much coming out and saying that, because that allowed me to open up and realize that what I'm doing is not okay at all. You know what I'm saying? I need to just step up and get back up on my reading, so that way I'll be able to pour into my leaders and set an example for them and tell them. And what you said, Sean, about just not being the best leader that I can be, that really hit me, because that's exactly what I'm doing by not reading and then trying to stress to them, like, you need to read, you need to read, you need to read. It's not right of me. So I just appreciate you all for this call. It's crazy. I don't know if Ryan is on his call right now, but we went to I was in Houston this weekend, just this past weekend, for our Millennials 2. And I ran into a lot of the people that I met on Sean's call, on Nano's call. And it's crazy just to meet these people in person, and just to know that I probably would have never known who they were if not for these calls. So it's pretty much just opened me up to being able to have more connections throughout the business and throughout the network marketing space. So I definitely appreciate you all for this call. I appreciate you, Nano. I appreciate you, Sean. I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful, productive day. And that's pretty much it, family. I love you all. Thanks so much for the platform, Sean.
Awesome. Love you too, brother. Appreciate you. Thanks for taking your time. So with that, hey, guess what? That's a wrap for today. I appreciate you all so very much. Thanks for making my day so much better. Thanks for helping me sharpen my saw every day. Thanks for helping me learn to listen a little bit more and see the world through perspective called your experiences. That I'm forever grateful for. Thanks to everybody who contributed today. I just absolutely love you all. Hey, listen, I'm Sean Murphy, founder of Mental Profits, your head misfit on this call. I'll see y'all where? At the next event. Y'all say bye and send some love to each other.
Thank you, Sean. Love you, Sean. Love all my
Ralph.
Thank you
Misfits
so
family.
much.
Thank you.
y'all,
Have a good
man.
day,
Love y'all.
everyone. Love you.
Have a wonderful
Hasta
day.
luego, chicos. Bye bye, superstars. Se bien.
You guys later.
See you later.
Y'all are amazing.
Bye, everybody. Have a great day.
Great day, everyone.
Bye. I love you guys.
Take care, y'all. Have a great day, man.